In this video, we are going to learn microservices resiliency patterns. In order to provide unbroken microservices, the architecture must be designed correctly and the developers must develop applications that are suitable for this architecture and will not cause errors. Unfortunately, we may not always achieve this, but fortunately, there are some approaches that we can apply to provide uninterrupted microservices. The name of this approach is resilience patterns. Resilience patterns can be divided into different categories according to problem area they solve, and it is possible to examine them under a separate topics, but we will look at the most needed and essential design patterns in this video. So in order to ensure durability in the microservice architectures, relatively difficult if you compare to monolithic architectures. In the microservice architecture, the communication between services is distributed and many internal or external network traffic is created for a transaction. As the communication need between services and dependence on external services increases, the possibility of occurring errors will increase. So there are several ways that can be used to improve the resiliency of a microservice system. So we will apply these microservice resilience patterns on microservice communication, and I will detail explanation for the next videos, but let me give brief information about the microservices resilience patterns. The first pattern is retry pattern. This pattern is retrying a request if it fails or times out. Retries can be implemented at the client or the service level and can be used to handle temporary failures or disruptions. And the second pattern is circuit breaker pattern. Circuit breaker introducing a proxy or circuit breaker between a client and a service. The circuit breaker monitors the health of the service, and if it detects that the service is unavailable or unresponsive, it will open the circuit and prevent further requests from being sent to the client application to the service. So this will help to prevent the client from being affected by the failures or disruptions of the service. And another pattern is bulkhead pattern. Bulkhead pattern partitioning a system into isolated components or bulkheads in order to prevent the failure of one component from affecting the other components. And another pattern is timeout pattern. Timeout pattern is should not wait for a service response for an indefinite time of the amount of the time, and it will throw an exception instead of waiting too long if the timeout period is expires. And another pattern is fallback pattern. Fallback pattern providing an alternative behavior or response if a request fails or times out. For example, if a service is unavailable, the client could use a cached version of the data or display a default message to the user for exception period. Also, there is one more resiliency pattern, which is the cache. Cache basically stores response automatically. We have already seen distributed cache in the previous sections. So by implementing resiliency patterns, a microservices system can become more reliable and able to withstand and recover from the failures or disruptions. So now let's see all these patterns and examine with detailed versions in the next videos.